What's up, guys and gals? Wolf Typhlosion here, and I'm here with part 6 of Wolf Deku had the draconic portal quirk. Now, last time we left off, I left you off when the class got back from, well, when the class got through the forest, and they went to bed to rest for the next day. Now, the next morning, Aizawa wakes them up at like 5 a.m. When he does this, everyone groans and slowly start to wake up. However, Deku is waking up extremely quickly, and he gets ready quickly as well. Yeah. As he's the first one out there, and Aizawa isn't too surprised because, hell, he's raised this boy. As shit. As the rest of the class takes a while longer to get ready. However, they do get ready and they do come out. That being said, they're all extremely tired and sleepy. So they complain about having to wake up so early. Aizawa tells them to suck it up and just to get ready for training. They ask what kind of training, and he says quirk training. We are going to be focusing on training up your quirks, since ever since y'all got here, we haven't really focused on that. Now, Aizawa tells Bakugo to come up and throw a ball just like in canon. He does so, and he shows them what he means by they haven't trained their quirks since they've gotten there. As the class then understands what he means, and they go to where Aizawa tells them to start training their quirks and how they should train their quirks. However, Izuku is the only one who doesn't go somewhere. Aizawa asks him to follow him, because at this moment in time, Izuku can't really make a big, what's it called? A big gate without passing out. Now, this can become a problem if he's trying to summon a big dragon. But it's not really a problem at the moment because he doesn't really summon huge dragons like the draconic light dragon queen Luna. So that's extremely fine. However, what if there is a time where he needs to summon a big dragon, and he just passes out in the middle of the fight? That's not good. for anyone involved, including himself. So, Aizawa takes Deku out to a clearing, a big one at that, and tells him to start opening up a gate. But don't think of any dragons, because usually a gate will appear in front of a dragon he's thinking about. So him not thinking about a dragon causes him to just open a gate in a random spot. Now, since he's not focusing on summoning a dragon, but more focusing on making the gate bigger, he decides to just start opening up a gate. As the gate starts out small, and then starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. And if he is to pass out, as soon as he wakes back up, he is to start again. He essentially has to be able to make a big enough portal so that the Light Dragon Queen can come out without passing out by the end of the training camp. That's the goal Aizawa set for him. Now, I know that might seem like a heavy goal because the first time he did it by pure accident. But this time, Aizawa just wants him to make it big enough. So, yeah. As as um anyways, sorry about that. They keep going like this until the last day. Now, on this last day, they do a test of courage. Well, quotation marks about that. To see if, they could do it. To see how brave they are, essentially. Now, they go through and start doing the test of courage as Izuku goes in alone. Because he... No, correction. He goes in with Momo. As they're like one of the first groups to go through. And since Izuku isn't really afraid of much, he just lets Momo hang on to his arm. Now, um, that being said, she stays close with him, and they manage to get through the test pretty easily. So they keep going through the test. As soon it becomes apparent that something isn't right within the forest. As Izuku looks over to Momo and asks her to stay even closer to him, as he doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. She obliges, not understanding why he says this, as as soon as Izuku finishes his sentence, they see fire burst out in the forest. As this surprises Momo, but not really Izuku, as he could feel that there was something wrong with feel that there was something wrong within the forest. So, as soon as Izuku sees the forest burst into fire, he opens up a portal allowing Sapphire to come through. But as he does that, he opens up another portal to allow Crimson to come through. If you don't know who Crimson is, essentially it's Sapphire's look, but red. As he then goes to get Momo onto Sapphire and tells Sapphire to protect Momo. As he tells Crimson to search for his class and protect them. Crimson complies with him and starts looking for his class. As as Izuku then opens up another portal, letting out this guy. As if I remember correctly, he should be about no less than Sapphire size, and she has a wingspan of like 20 feet and a body length of 10. So he shouldn't be any bigger, as he is still dragonkin, or dragonlin, baby dragon, whatever the correct term for that is, as uh later, as Izuku tells him to do the exact same as Crimson, to look around for his classmate and get them to safety. He complies very willingly, as he thinks this as a game. As to him, almost anything's a game at this point. So he's enjoying this and decides to try and beat Crimson at how many of Izuku's classmate he can save. Izuku not really caring about this because it saves his classmate anyways. Just lets this happen. As they keep going, and Izuku decides to don his draconic form, which at this point is Ruby and Sapphire like draconic claws or his forearms and hands, and some draconic wings, sapphire draconic wings, and some scales that represent the air dragon, since he's started to spend more time with the dragons he knows of. So he gets these attributes, as well as he turns his eyes into slits, so he has a better eyesight as well. As he flies up after getting Momo away with Sapphire and goes after the fire. Now, Izuku is able to make a portal that can hold, that can open up to half the size of a portal big enough for Luna to come through. So, yeah. Yeah. As Izuku gets there, he sees a twice clone of Dabi. Now, him not knowing it's a clone charges at him to subdue and what's it called? Subdue and capture, yeah. But Izuku accidentally slashes him with his draconic claws. As he does this, though, he dealt too much damage to the clone, and the clone starts to turn into the goop. As Izuku thinks he might have killed him, but the clone then states that it was just that, a clone. And that if it was really him, he would have still died. So Izuku starts to feel a bit conflicted. But as he's feeling this, the rest of the LOV, now I'm changing it to where they are there for two people. One is Bakugo, like normal. That won't change. Because I have something in mind for him when he gets captured. As, the other person is Deku. As he's staying there conflicted, not knowing what he should do because he essentially killed someone. And he doesn't know what he should do. If he should just head back to camp or keep trying to protect his friends. As he's standing there conflicted, he's not aware of his surroundings. As Compress sneaks up behind him and manages to get Izuku. As he then goes into their earpiece telling the LOV that they managed to capture Target 1 and that he's going for Target 2. Everything else usually happens in canon, except for that the UA kids either get rescued by Crimson and the Air Dragon, or that they manage to get back to the base. Now, that being the case, they they manage to save most of the class, and they get Tokiyami out of his rage state, if you want to call it that. As as they managed to also get Bakugo, but they had to fight Crimson to get Bakugo as well. Since Crimson got to Bakugo just as the LOV was fighting him. But without Crimson realizing it, they managed to capture Bakugo under his nose and they escape. When Crimson looks around to try and see if he can grab Bakugo, he sees that he's gone and the LOV beginning to retreat. This pisses Crimson off as he then flies after the LOV trying to rescue Bakugo, as it was essentially a order from Izuku. Now, the dragons don't know Izuku has been captured. Now, this being said, this so as soon as the LOV get together with Crimson still on Compress and Toga's tail, a portal opens up as they go through it, but it closes right before Crimson can get there. This pisses Crimson off even more as he looks up and roars into the air. This scaring most of the kids. They then decide to Crimson then goes back where Sapphire is waiting with the teachers and most of the class, except for the two that get captured. And the air dragon comes back as well to see if everyone's there. When they get there, Aizawa takes a heck out and his face pales. Momo is also looking through the class, and so is Sapphire. But they then notice two people aren't there. One is Bakugo. The other is Deku. Momo then asks where Deku is. And as soon as she says this, all the dragons there try to feel for where he is through the soul connection they have with him. But they feel that it's extremely far away. As this gets Sapphire into a rage-like state, as Deku is essentially her child. And you do not want to mess with a mother whose child you've just taken. Both Crimson and the Air Dragon, seeing Sapphire like this, decide that they best help her find Izuku. And quick. Otherwise, she will go berserk and attack anyone who gets in her way. this includes heroes, as she doesn't care. All she cares about is getting Izuku back. Now, um, Crimson flies up into the air with Moro still on her back. And, no, my bad. Sapphire flies up into the air with Momo still on her back. Crimson follows her as well as the air dragon. As they go to where they feel the soul connection is the strongest. Which it just so happens to be at the LOV base. Now, let's skip to when the LOV gets to their base. As they get there, Compress releases both Izuku and Bakugo. Bakugo gets restrained like in canon. However, Izuku gets restrained in a more barbaric. I don't know what to call this. No, I'm just gonna say it like this. He gets chained up like an animal. Worse than Bakugo. As, Izuku gets a muzzle placed onto him. Quirk canceling, a quirk canceling collar, for one. And yes, it's an actual collar. And he gets chained up to a wall and placed in a cage. Now, I don't know how this might seem to people, but just go along with me for now. Izuku wakes up first as he sees he's been chained up, muzzled, and with the LOV. Now, him knowing Sapphire knows she'll be coming for him in a rage-like state. So all he has to do is withstand till then. He manages to hold out, but when the LOV notices he's awake, they tell him to join them, or he'll die. And they are being serious about this. However, what they don't really understand is his quirk can't be taken from him. As they decide to bring him to All For One. So he can take his quirk, because, hell, All For One knows what his quirk is. Draconic Portal allows him to go to a whole new fucking world, for Christ's sakes. And if y'all don't know the implications of a whole new fucking world for the LOV, oh shit. But when All For One tries to take his quirk, he sees that he can't. Izuku's quirk is literally himself. Not quirk gene, not anything like that. He is the quirk, in a sense. When Awful One finds this out, he's a bit enraged, but he then gets a brilliant idea. Well, to him it's brilliant, to everyone else it's sadistic. They chain Izuku up. They make him their pet. They make him do whatever they want. And if he doesn't, they attack the ones he loves. Which, as of right now, is only Momo. Now, this being the case, and the fact that they don't have Momo, they can't really threaten him. So they decide to just put him, they decide to just lock him up. As that would be the best thing to do. Is lock him up. Until he decides to join them. And they move his cage deep into the out of the hideout. As to if the heroes do decide to come after them and find their base, they won't be able to find Izuku. But they give the exact same offer to Bakugo, as he is just like our normal angry Pomeranian and doesn't take the offer. Saying as he's trying to become a hero and not a fucking villain. As as this goes on, they try to convince Bakugo to join them by whatever means they can. They then go back to Izuku to try and convince him as well. Now, Sapphire has been restrained by Crimson and the Air Dragon for a little while, to try and calm her, to make her understand that Izuku is perfectly fine. He can't be hurt. She knows this, but in her heart, she doesn't want to lose her son, as she decides to break free from Crimson and the Sky Dragon. This shocks both of them, and this is about 2 days after the camp incident, and the heroes are hatching out their plan. Sapphire thinks they're wasting too much time, as she then decides to go alone and try to free Izuku. So she goes flying across the city with Crimson and the Sky Dragon behind her. Momo has been taken off of her and sent home. As the three dragons are flying across the sky, Eraserhead notices them flying and chases after them since he knows they have a connection to Izuku. As he calls it in as well, saying not to hurt the 3 flying dragons and just to follow them. They ask him why, as he doesn't really explain to them. He just tells them to do what he says. They nod and decide to follow what Aizawa said. As when they see where the dragons are going, Sapphire pinpoints the bar and decides to bomb rush it. As she does this, she flies down and breathes her bluish fire, her sapphire-like fire, towards the building. As Crimson just gave up all hope of reasoning with her, and follows her, and bum rushes it himself with his ruby-like fire. The Sky Dragon not really having a fire breath attack, but more of a tornado-like, waits until they both get out of the vicinity before he does his. Now, the villains hear something coming down at high speed, and then they see the front door burst into sapphire-like fire. As right after that, a ruby-like fire comes through the door. Bakugo is just sitting there laughing his ass off, because he remembers how the fire looks, because he's trained with Izuku once or twice, and he's fought both Sapphire and Crimson. As as they then feel a rush of wind coming through the door, which spreads the fire even more. As the building starts to burn, Izuku, being far underground, has no knowledge of any of this happening, and is trying his best to break free of his restraints, but it's not really happening. As they have Muscular there watching over him, as he's the only one who can manhandle Izuku down to the ground, because Izuku has been training with his dragon, so his strength is pretty fucking strong. As as Muscular then gets a notification over the radio that they're being attacked and to stay hidden. Make sure they can't find Izuku. He tells them alright, as he looks over at Izuku in his cage and just smirks a little. Now back up to the top. The whole LOV and Bakugo, they start to spew out a goop-like substance, like in the anime, as they then disappear. This pissing off Sapphire, Crimson, and the Air Dragon decide to go after them, because they thought Izuku was with them, and he got teleported somewhere else. As they start flying around the entire city looking for them. As off one has moved them from the hideout to the Nomu production facility. As he then tells them that they have to stay low. The dragons are still looking for them. Shigaraki, being a bit pissed off, asks off one why he takes them away from them. They could have killed those dragons easily. All For One shakes his head and says that Shigaraki could have, but the rest of the league could not. Their scales are insanely tough. So a disintegrating quirk could help. Bakugo hearing this just keeps smirking in his restraints. Well, since they moved him, they didn't take those restraints with him because he had some space between them, between the restraints and him. As he smirked, seeing that he is free and able to use his quirk, as he tries to sneak to a window, which he manages to do, he breaks it, puts a palm up into the air, and releases a huge explosion to get the three dragons' attention, because he knows that they should be pissed off enough to be chasing after them. As he does this, the league looks over at him, sees he's out of his restraints, and makes the explosion as their faces pale a little. Now, this being said, Sapphire and the two other dragons, as well as all the heroes, see the explosion as they all rush towards there. The air dragon gets there first as he lets out a huge wind tunnel, which it destroys the building and picks up all the rubble and moving it to the side, so they have a clear shot. As Sapphire and Crimson get there, they dive bomb the villains as Bakugo starts to escape with his explosions. He manages to find Aizawa and tell them that they have Izuku somewhere and he just doesn't know. As they frequently talked about Izuku. As the dragons are dive bombing the villains, some get caught in crossfire and get knocked out and captured. However, All For One manages to get the rest of them out to safety before having to face three dragons altogether, which he can't necessarily pierce their scales, but he can do some damage to them. As they fight for a while, and they manage to subdue All For One. So, All Might isn't losing his buff form anytime soon. Now, as All For One is getting, and the villains that they've captured are getting put thrown into jail, the dragons notice that Izuku isn't there. As I'm gonna leave it off right there. Cliffhanger. But seriously, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave me a like down below, and subscribe if you are enjoying my content as much as you are. And hell, comment down below what you think of my series and what I could do better on it. Now, that's all for me. See y'all. Hope y'all have a great day.